The max cape. Many adventurers strive to obtain this cape, but only the most capable will succeed. I, on the other hand, will speedrun this cape in world record time. With all the necessary quests completed, we are moving on to the real skilling stage of the run. After hours of theory crafting the best possible route, I will use and showcase never seen before skilling methods and strategies to save as much time as possible to not only secure the world record for fastest max cape, but also the longest speedrun in the world. My name is Boksjongen, and this is my grind to the fastest max cape. Hey, what is up everyone? Hope you enjoyed the new intro that I made. And I made this intro because this episode marks the halfway point of the series. Maybe not hours wise, but you could see this as like the new season. Since we are done with questing and unlocking stuff, our focus will be on just skilling from now on, trying to get that max cape. Since in the last episode we completed some of the elves and did the crystal crafting training method, which got us a record for most XP gained in 1 hour. But before we get into today's episode, a quick word from our sponsor for today's video. Today's video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Raid is the most popular mobile turn-based battle MMORPG out there. Raid has a lot of different content you can explore with your friends. My favorite bit of super tough content is the Doom Tower. This huge tower is basically a giant prison. Within this tower reside the most powerful and challenging enemies waiting to put up a fight against you. Some bosses need specific mechanics to beat them, which is very engaging and rewarding when you master those mechanics. To climb the top, you're gonna need an army of champions. Luckily, Raid has you covered with their amazing Trick or Treat promotion for Halloween, where you can win a bunch of real life and in-game prizes, including $1000 Amazon gift cards and some of the best epic and legendary Halloween champions. The best part? That it's all free and it's super easy. All you need is your Raid player ID. Just download Raid with my link in the description. Then head to trickortreat.plarium.com. From there, just enter your details and then spin the wheel and get your prize. That's it. Don't wait around, this special event runs until November 5th. Only new players can win a prize. And if you haven't started playing Raid yet, click my link in the description or scan my QR code here on the screen. You'll get unique bonuses worth $30. We are talking a free epic champion called Tyrell, 200k silver, 1 energy refill, and 1 XP boost and 1 agent shard. So you can summon awesome champions as soon as you get in game. All this treasure will be waiting for you here. And thank you Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring the video. Heyo, welcome back. In the last episode we had to get 70 woodcutting for some of the elves, but in that clip I showed you that I was getting 70 woodcutting. Something was off in that clip. Maybe some of you already did notice what was like off in that clip. But I was already 85 firemaking and woodcutting with an infernal axe. And I didn't show that in the last video because it would fit better in this one. Now, what is all the talk about the infernal axe? Once you are level 85 firemaking and 61 woodcutting, you can create this axe by using a dragon axe on a smoldering stone. This also gives you a little bit of woodcutting and firemaking XP, but that's not what we are after with this axe. Since it has a passive effect of burning 33% of the logs that you cut, rewarding you with half of the firemaking XP you would get for the log when you would normally burn it with a tinderbox. This will result in quite a lot of bonus firemaking XP from getting 99 woodcutting. That is what we are getting the axe for. The burning effect also makes it so that you have to drop less, making this axe very valuable for a skiller. But there's one problem. We are not yet 85 firemaking. And the way how I'm going to do this is by using a new method called Fireblower. And with this method you basically use the same pattern as with Fire 1, but instead of wands you use pots. This method only works with 1 tickable potions, so stamina pots at level 77, extended anti-fire potions at 84, anti-venom potions at 87, and extended super anti-fire potions at 98. Currently we are 75 herbivore, so we can't actually make stamina pots yet. But luckily we have the botanical pie that boosts our herbivore with 4 levels, so we can start making stamina pots. And this pie also helps me with banking, since if I eat the pie, just like I ate the Karamban with the fireball method, it delays my next firemaking cycle with 3 ticks, giving me plenty of time to bank for the next lab, without having to relight. Coming back at that 1 tick aspect of the potion, as you can see when I make the super attack, After the make all interface like disappears, it still takes a tick for the potion to be created, and when I do it with the stamina pot, it gets created on the same tick as the interface like closes. Now that we are 77 Herblore, I of course didn't have to boost anymore for making stamina pots. But I still wanted to eat something before I banged, since that makes the method a lot more chill and viable long term. And then I got the idea to just take purple sweets and remove the placeholder in my bank. So when I press the deposit all button, my sweets stay in my inventory, just like my tinderbox and my amylase crystals. And the sweets also have a 3-tick delay, so it's identical to the botanical pie, but I don't have to like grab the botanical pie every lap. But it costs a little bit of money, but we are kind of used to spending money at this point. At 75 fire making we also unlock magic logs, and you can get a pretty good idea of the XP rates now. If you look at the top left, you can see that I'm getting over 180k Herblore XP an hour and over 400k fire making. So if you convert that to like EHP, fire making is pretty much 1-to-1, since yeah, you're like constantly lighting fires. And the Herblore is close to 0.4 EHP, so this method in total is yeah, pretty close to 1.4 EHP compared to normal fire making and normal Herblore. So if you want to do this method yourself, I'll leave the tile markers in the description, and I'll give a couple tips for this method. Make sure that you have your bank completely full and remove the placeholders for your amylase crystal or the other ingredient that you're using for the potions, and your tinderbox. So if you press the deposit button, yeah, they stay in your inventory. The sweets are optional, or some other form of food, since it is possible without using food to bank and not lose ticks, but it's very difficult and makes the method not so enjoyable in my opinion. When you want to move east, the fire making animation walks you one tile west again, and that way you can only make one potion when this happens. To counter this, you can see me click 3 tiles east and lighting a fire the next tick. Pay attention to my true tile, that's the blue one. That places me 1 tile east of the fire I just lighted, skipping the animation. And because I'm standing on a clear tile, I can make 2 potions and light the log. After lighting that log, I make 1 potion again, and then I repeat with running 3 tiles east. If that went a little bit too quick, I'll replay it once more. And another tip, when moving towards the west, your character already gets placed 1 tile to the west because of the fire making animation, and you can make 2 potions every time. But you have to be really quick with this, so the tick after you see the fire making XP drop, you already want to like start the Herblore. Then make 2 potions and be ready to click your log again. For the rest of the lab, you just have to see what I'm doing. I will link a video in the description of some raw footage of this method, so you can see how it works and learn it. But that is enough Fireblower for now. On the last lap of this method before hitting 81 Herblore. And I'm stopping at 81 because you can boost to 85 for Ancient Brews. And that is the method that we'll be using for 99 Herblore in the future. But we are not yet 85 fire making, so we have to do something else for fire making to finish 85. And by far the best way to get 85 fire making is doing it during artifacts, of course. Since you have to run a lot during artifacts, it has a really nice synergy with fire making. But something was going wrong with lighting fires while running. If you pay close attention to my true tile again, you can see that I'm walking for 1 tick every time I'm lighting a fire. What this means is that the fire making animation is getting played every time instead of getting skipped because I'm running. And it is slowing me down quite a bit. First I thought it was just the world that was like laggy causing this. But then I hopped and it was still happening, and then I was starting to sweat a little bit. I was like, why is this going wrong? And I started asking people what might be wrong with my account. I even contacted the competition, since JCW already did this method, and yeah, we were trying to work it out in voice together, but we couldn't figure it out. But the crazy thing is, I was able to do it perfectly on my main. So I really started to sweat now that there was something wrong with my account and I might have to restart it or something. So when I almost lost hope, I did the only sensible thing a man can do in a dire situation, and that is ask Mod Ash on Twitter. So I made some footage of me doing it on this account and on my main and sent a tweet to Mod Ash asking what was going wrong. But then it took a while for Mod Ash to reply. But before that, someone else mentioned that it might be because of a quest that is unfinished, or I recently did that some content just happens to queue a command on me. And that is why my walking was blocked and I get like stalled. Because there's something in my queue basically. Then they specified that it was probably the elf quest line. And this is still before I did Song of the Elves. So I was like, yeah, this is just great, right? But then they mentioned something else, that it was probably my drift nets that I still had set up. And I still had them set up after I finished driftnet. So I made my way over to Fossil Island, and when I got to my drift nets, they looked like this. One of them was full, but the other one was bugged, saying it wasn't full, but it's been there for weeks now. And when you leave a drift net hanging, it can still catch fish over time. So what I think what was going on was that there was still a fish shoal trying to get into my drift net, but because it was bugged, they couldn't do that. So there was like a constant action being put in my character's queue, messing up the fire making while running. Some classic spaghetti code, if you ask me. So after that I took the nets down and went back to artifacts, and it worked. I could run freely again while lighting fires. So after zooming past all the guards, we managed to get 77 thieving and really close to 85 fire making. So it's almost time for wood cutting. So when I had like 10 logs left till 85 fire making, I made my way over to Fossil Island already, to the teak trees, and got 85 fire making on the way there. And straight away I combined my dragon axe with a smoldering stone to make the infernal axe and started wood cutting. So, welcome to the chopping grounds. This is going to be my home for the next 70 hours, while I go for 99 wood cutting. I have shown this method earlier in the series, but I didn't explain it back then, but I will explain everything about the method in this video. First I want to say that this method is my favorite scaling method in the game, so I really had a blast doing this all the way. Before deep diving into how this method works exactly, I want to go over the setup and items needed for this method. Firstly, the mahogany log. The log is used to create a 3-tick cycle trying to make a mahogany stock. And I'm using a mahogany log here since if I were to use the teak logs that I chop, I would get an interface asking me how many stocks I want to make, and then it's not 3-tick anymore, so we have to use one mahogany log and then drop all the teak logs. And now that we are talking about dropping teak logs, I want to show you guys how you can set up your inventory so you can easily drop teak logs without having to press shift or anything. So to set this up, first you want to press shift, and you see that the left click option is drop for now. But once we right click with shift active and we go down and click the left click option, we can select drop here, and after we selected that and we release shift, the mahogany log and the knife are on use and the teak log is on drop. So you can just left click everything now. You need to have the menu entry shopper plugin enabled and tick the box with customizable left click. And for the other items, I'm using a light bearer ring. This new ring is from Rage Tree and allows you to recharge your special attack twice as fast. So you can spec twice as often with your dragon axe. That way your woodcutting level is always boosted with at least 2 levels when praying preserve. If you were to do this without an alt, you need to bring staminas and maybe a ring of endurance instead of the light bearer. I'm not sure which one is better, but the ring of endurance extends your trips by a lot. Since when you store stamina doses in that ring, it doubles your stamina potion duration from 2 minutes to 4 minutes, gives you 40% run instead of 20, and if you have more than 500 charges in it, you get a 15% stamina loss reduction. But I am doing this with an alt, and the alt brings runes for energy transfer, so I can spec even more often, and my run energy never runs out that way. I also use potion share to keep my prayer up for praying preserve. The alt is positioned on this square, allowing it to reach all the spots where I'm woodcutting at with potion share. The alt also trades over dragon axes, since the infernal axe can run out after 5000 logs being burned, so you have to recharge it with another dragon axe. Now I want to explain this method and how it works and how the double roll works. This method is called 1.5 tick ticks, but we are not actually 1.5 ticking. We are 3 ticking, but we get a double roll, so it becomes 1.5 tick per roll. First, you need to know that some objects in this game create a stall while you interact with them after moving. As you can see here in this mining clip, 1 tick after you interact with the rock you can't click away anymore. This also goes for player farm trees, just like these ticks. We can use this stall to our advantage by tricking the game into thinking that we are allowed for 2 rolls instead of 1. And it goes as following. On tick 1 we start making the mahogany stock, which removes the interaction with the previous tree, and setting our skilling timer to 2. It also puts in a weak command for making a mahogany stock, but in the same tick we move to the other tree, already deleting that command for the mahogany stock, and we start to move towards the other tree. Now on the second tick we want to drop our logs if we need to, but we have to do this in the same tick as we click back on the tree, otherwise it won't work. Then, since we are interacting with the tree now, a stall starts. And on the third tick, during our turn, this stall ends and we get a roll for a log. During our next turn, we get another roll because we're interacting with the object still, resulting on a double roll on the third tick. So basically, since our interaction with the tree was paused when the stall began, our interaction completes when the stall ends. This finishing of our interaction from tick 2 is the source of the additional roll. I hope that information wasn't too confusing, but I got this information from a document made by Data Dependent, and I'll leave this document in the description below for those nerds who want to learn more about the mechanics behind skilling and tick manipulation. But I think you guys deserve a break now, so we're gonna listen to some tunes before we continue with the ins and outs of this method and how to get the best rates. Hey, finally some more funk in the videos. But I'm gonna explain the pathing in this method and how to get the best rates. First, what to do when a tree goes down. When the middle tree goes down, you want to click on the right tree and then go up and down twice on this tree before going back to the middle one. This times it perfectly, so when you click back on the middle tree it gets up again. When the right tree goes down, you want to click on the middle tree and then go around until you hit this spot. Make your way back towards the other side. This way it times it perfectly so the right tree will be up again. When the right and the middle tree go down, you want to move over to the left tree to start chopping over there. You want to move to either this square or this one, depending on what tree you come from. If you come from the middle tree, you want to move to the upper square, and if you come from the right tree, you want to click the lower square. On this tree, the pathing is a little bit harder than on the other ones, but what I like to do is to click the minimap when I want to move down. So I click on the beads to move down. When this tree goes down and you want to move back to the middle one, I click the square where the log is at. Then I wait one tick before I start my knife log action and then continue from there. It is also very important to watch your true tile when you're moving from right to left or from left to right, since when you're one tick away from the tree, so if your true tile is 1 or 2 tiles away, then you want to start your knife log action to stay in cycle. So much time has passed already since I started explaining this method that we are already 92 woodcutting. We're already halfway. We also managed to get the beaver at 93 woodcutting. And I managed to miss one tick because of that, because I was so excited that we got a fucking pet. After a lot of chopping later and 2 mahogany stocks later, we are closing in on 99 already. And I was doing so well with not making any stocks. And then I think at like 97 woodcutting, I had one day that I made like 2 stocks in, I don't know, less than an hour. So that was a kind of disaster, but only 2 stocks on all of 99 woodcutting, pretty good. And in this episode we only spent like 10 mil on herbivore and maybe a couple mil on fire making, since the cost of woodcutting was like 10 dragon axes, which is 400k, so... And the runes and potions used on the alt is also probably gonna be like a couple mil, so it's not gonna do much to the already 5 bill like cost for this series. And there we go, 99 woodcutting. Another 99 done on the account. And we actually gained quite a bit of time from this one, since the EHP is pretty low for woodcutting on Temple. Or at least pre-99 is very easy to get. And because I was boosting, my woodcutting level was also like always higher than my current level, so I was getting more XP an hour. And immediately after getting 99, I traded over some mahogany saplings so I could start farming again. And took down my teak trees because I don't need those anymore and planted the mahoganies. And our fire making level also increased quite a lot, since we are closing in on 91 already, so we just skipped all the magic logs required that we have to light from 85 till 90, so we can just go onto redwood straight away. So for the end stats and levels gained this episode, we started with these stats on the left, and we ended with these stats in the middle, getting another 99 out of the way. That brings the total 99 at 4 now, and these are the differences between those two. And thank you so much for tuning in once again for another episode, and also a huge thanks to all my patrons and everyone who supports me. It really means the world to me. Thank you guys so much. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.